And away we go, episode 1362 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, July 6th, 2026. Hope that you had a nice July 4th. And how about what our July 4th, 2026 included? An Instagram back and forth between San Francisco 49ers receiver Brandon Aiyuk and Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels. The question is, was this legitimate? Or was this simply two good friends needling each other? Two good friends busting each other's chops. To put this in pro wrestling terms, was this a shoot or was this a work? I say that this was just two good friends messing with each other, that this was a work, as opposed to some dramatic breakup, as some have perceived this, but we don't know for sure. So this all started with a viral video of Daniels at a World Cup match getting yelled at by a Niners fan who kept saying, quote, F Brandon Aiyuk, end quote, and also told Daniels that he in the 2026 season, quote, better not throw S to, end quote, Aiyuk. And Daniels in the video was laughing at what the person was saying. Here's the audio of the video.
Hey, Jayden Daniels, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, you better not throw shit to him next year. I'm a Niner fan, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk.
All right, there you go. What a classy fan that Niners fan must be. Anyway, Brandon Aiyuk on Saturday posted a photo that included Aiyuk with the message, quote, TF, always so funny, Lil N, turn your savage up, end quote. The idea being, hey, Jayden, why were you laughing instead of defending me? We then had a resulting back and forth, including Aiyuk mentioning Daniels' mom and Aiyuk and Daniels unfollowing each other on Instagram. And this got so many people, including people in my business, the media, getting all out of sorts. But Aiyuk eventually put up a post in which he was wearing a Commander's hat, and the post included the message, quote, let's run it 5. Let's see. Need you available all season, and I'll do the same, end quote. So, was this a shoot? Was this a work? Was this a work that turned into a shoot? Was this a shoot that turned into a work? In other words, maybe one guy was kidding, but the other guy was not kidding. A lot of possibilities here. Hey, happy July 4th. Hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Washington Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. And next segment, the first of two conversations with former Washington Redskins salary cap analyst J.I. Halsell, who currently is the executive vice president of client compensation for Strand Sports And Entertainment, a prominent agency. And we, with J.I. on this installment of the podcast, will conduct a deep dive on the intricacies of the Brandon Aiyuk saga, as he has this fractured relationship with the Niners and wants to play for the Commanders. J.I., given his background, has great insight for us, including the legitimacy of Aiyuk's gripes with his former agent and with the Niners, what to make of Aiyuk and the NFL Players Association not going after the money that the Niners voided, the possibility of the Niners going after more of Aiyuk's money, and whether Washington is at risk for a tampering charge. It is the summer of Aiyuk. J.I. Halsell, next segment. Also on the show, we'll talk Washington Capitals, discussion of the Caps re-signing unrestricted free agent winger Alex Ovechkin to a one-year contract for a 22nd NHL season, and about the Caps' aggressive all-in offseason off comments from head coach Spencer Carbery. And on the show, we'll give you breakdowns of the Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles weekends. The Nats over the weekend lost 2 out of 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Nationals Park. The O's over the weekend won 2 out of 3 games at the Cincinnati Reds. And we on Saturday night learned of the rosters for the 2026 MLB All-Star Game. We'll get into who from the Nats and O's got selected and who else from the Nats and O's might get selected. Before we get to feedback, some Washington Wizards news over the last few days. So we on Friday afternoon had reports that the Wizards have agreed to trade Jaden Hardy, a second-round pick in the 2031 NBA draft, and a second-round pick in the 2032 NBA draft, to the Los Angeles Lakers for DeAndre Ayton. A good trade for our Wizards, giving up a non-rotational player in Hardy and 2 second-round picks for a guy in Ayton who, no, has never been what he was drafted drafted to be, but who can play and who provides depth behind Alex R. and Anthony Davis in terms of Wizards bigs. Ayton's entering his age 28 season. He's on an expiring contract, but at little money. He, per Hoops Hype, is under contract for just $8.104 million for the 2026-2027 season. So this is not some big contract that the Wizards are taking on. Ayton was taken by the Phoenix Suns with the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 NBA draft. Yes, he from that standpoint has disappointed, but in the 2025-2026 regular season had the best true shooting percentage of any regular season in his NBA career, 67.6. True shooting percentage, a version of shooting percentage that accounts for threes being worth more than twos and accounts for free throws. I like this trade for the Wizards. Also, ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania, he on Saturday night reported 2 major additions for the Wizards coaching staff, Patrick Ewing and Steve Clifford. And our friend Ben Standig, Commanders and Wizards insider for Last Man Standing on Substack, he on Saturday night also reported that the Wizards are hiring Ewing, but said Charania over 2 posts on X, quote, Georgetown and New York Knicks legend Patrick Ewing has agreed to become an assistant coach for the Washington Wizards, and head coach Brian Keefe, sources tell ESPN, Ewing has been in an ambassador role with the Knicks and now returns on the coaching sidelines in D.C. Longtime NBA coach Steve Clifford is also joining the Wizards as a coaching advisor. Sources tell ESPN Clifford, who has held similar advisor roles for the Suns and Nets in recent years, coached as an assistant with Ewing in Orlando 2007 to 2012. Ewing then served as an assistant under Clifford in Charlotte from 2013 to 2017. End quote. I like these 2 hires, even though, yes, Patrick Ewing as Georgetown's head coach was a complete disaster. But he has extensive experience as an NBA assistant coach, including with the Wizards. He was an assistant coach for the Wizards for the 2002-2003 season, to say nothing of Ewing's great playing career for Georgetown and great playing career for the New York Knicks. And know this about Steve Clifford. He is part of the Phoenix Suns coaching staff this past season, was part of the Suns being very good defensively. The Suns for the 2025-2026 regular season were number 9 in the NBA in defensive rating, which is points allowed per 100 possessions. The Wizards were number 30, dead last. And Wizards insider Josh Robbins of The Athletic, he on Sunday morning on X reported, quote, David Vanterpool, who has worked as the Wizards' lead assistant coach under Brian Keefe, is moving into a front office role with the team. A source told The Athletic NBA Adam Caporn, who already is on staff, will be the Wizards' lead assistant coach, end quote. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. You can reach me via writing a review of the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can write about whatever you want, and I'll read what you write if you give the podcast a 5-star rating as we march toward 2,000 ratings of the podcast. But what we want are 5-star ratings. They help out the podcast a lot. And we thank you very much. Email from David in Israel off our conversations on last Thursday's and Friday's shows, episodes 1,360 and 1,361 with Warren Sharp of SharpFootballAnalysis.com, author of the Sharp Football Analysis 2026 Football Preview. Warren was outstanding in discussing the Washington Commanders in preparation for their 2026 season. And Warren on Thursday's show, in talking about Washington's offense, said that he still is very high on quarterback Jaden Daniels and essentially throws out Daniels' injury-ruined 2025 season. And also relevant to David's email is that Warren's position group rankings for Washington on offense among the NFL's 32 teams are not so kind. Quarterbacks, number 14. Receivers and tight ends, number 31. Running backs, number 32. Offensive line, number 22. Writes David. Al, great to catch up with you, even though I have not written in a while. I've been listening to each and every episode and following everything very closely. I like Warren Sharp, and I can't disagree with him in his ratings of our running and receivers rooms. But when it comes to quarterback, he can't have his cake and eat it too. If he takes up valuable minutes of our Al Galdi airtime to give us all the reasons why the JD5 2025 season should be completely disregarded, I tend to agree. So then, why is our quarterback room rated just 14th? How can that be? For starters, we have arguably the best QB2 in football, a true borderline starter, and if we're judging JD5 by 2024, he's only middle of the pack? What? The obvious play here is that JD5 plus MM is actually more like 5 to 7 and can elevate those other units, and that through a bit of spending and the elevation of some of the pieces at receiver, that Blau, how you like me now, can take that to be top 20, top 15. On the running back situation, I again think the team is gambling on Blau's system as well as a strong O-line to carry the way and make average backs very good backs. Hope it works. Thank you for the email, David. So Warren Sharp's position group rankings are his, and that they are in his book and are the work of his team. But the rankings are not the work of just him. I suspect that he himself would rank Washington's quarterback group higher if the rankings were done by just him. I agree that Washington in Marcus Mariota has one of the best QB2s in the NFL. And that's not theoretical. That's quantifiable. He, over his 2 seasons with Washington, has played well. Whether Washington's offense will be good this coming season comes down to these 2 things as much as anything. A, do the QB1, Jaden Daniels, and WR1, Terry McLaurin, stay mostly, if not entirely healthy, off each guy missing so much time last season due to injury? B, does the new offensive coordinator, David Blau, do a good job of maximizing what the team has on offense? Whatever you think about what the team has on offense, does Blau do a good job of maximizing what the team has on offense? If Daniels and McLaurin stay mostly, if not entirely healthy, and if Blau is a quality OC, then the offense will be good, maybe even great, and Blau will be saying what we have been saying on this podcast. As the great LL Cool J said, Blau, how you like me now? Blau, how you like me now? Exactly. Blau, how you like me now? 2026 Washington Commanders training camp is coming. Rookies report on July 24th, veterans on July 28th. Football season is coming. If you would like to grow your business or practice, consider advertising on this podcast. We're offering great deals in honor of the coming football season. Podcast advertising is very affordable and works. Put the power of the pod to work for you. Get your message out there to thousands of successful people in the Washington, D.C. area. Grow your business or practice. We'd love to have you on board. Email us to see what we can do for you. The email address is thealgaldipodcast@yahoo.com.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least 1 discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Believe it or not, the end of receiver Brandon Aiyuk being on the San Francisco 49ers may well be in sight. 2026 Niners training camp starts early. Rookies are due to report on July 18th. Veterans are due to report on July 25th. The Niners currently have Aiyuk on the reserve/left squad list. He, in order to come off that list, needs to apply for reinstatement. What Aiyuk needs to do is apply for reinstatement, get reinstated, and show up for training camp, or at least threaten to show up for training camp. At that point, the Niners almost certainly would cut him, because if they didn't, they'd risk being on the hook for his full compensation for the 2026 season if he had camp suffered a season-ending injury. Now, if/when the Niners release Aiyuk, the Washington Commanders, the team for which he oh so clearly wants to play, can sign him as an unrestricted free agent. Will our team sign him? Should our team sign him? Those are 2 big questions. But off all of Aiyuk's social media posts since the start of June, bashing the Niners and expressing this desire to play for Washington, and given the complicated nature of this saga, I wanted to speak with someone who can provide a unique and informed perspective to this saga. And so I'm very pleased to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast right now former Washington Redskins salary cap analyst J.I. Halsell, who is joining us for the first of 2 conversations on the podcast. J.I. worked for the Skins as a salary cap analyst from March 2007 to January 2009. He worked as an NFL Players Association certified contract advisor for Octagon from August 2020 to August 2022. And he now is the executive vice president of client compensation for Strand Sports And Entertainment, a big-time agency, a leading full-service sports management firm representing players, coaches, and front office executives in football and basketball. So J.I. has been both an NFL executive and an agent. He has been on both sides, and he knows Washington very well, having worked for the team, and he's a local. J.I. went to Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C. In fact, he on his X account has a photo of a flyer for a Junkyard Band concert at Gonzaga. You can follow J.I. on X at SalaryCap101. J.I., it's great to talk to you. That's a heck of a photo.
Kind of sums up my childhood in one poster right there. Go-Go and Gonzaga. So without a doubt, I love that poster.
Is the Junkyard Band the greatest go-go band of all time? Is the Junkyard Band the GOAT go-go band?
Personally, I'm more of a Northeast Groovers kind of guy, but JY, yeah, if you're particularly from Southeast, like that side of the city, JY is your band. And I think they are without a doubt one of the kind of godfather bands of DC Go-Go.
Absolutely. The Junkyard Band, outstanding. All right. The Brandon Aiyuk saga. What do you make of this from your perspective as a former Redskins executive and a current agent?
I mean, and look, it ultimately came out. I mean, the first initial thought was like, what guidance is he receiving or not putting into action? And then obviously it came out that he, at least in his mind, thought he had fired his agent. And then officially he did fire his agent about a week ago, just because it seemed like there has been no plan from a public perception management part of this as it relates to Brandon Aiyuk. And so sitting on the agent side of this business, you realize that bullhorn that social media provides to athletes can be a double-edged sword, right? And it's a sword that's not being used from an agent's perspective in the best way for Brandon Aiyuk as he tries to seek his release from the 49ers, his reinstatement from the reserve left squad list, and ultimately signing with a new team, whether that be the Commanders or one of the other 30 teams not named Commanders or 49ers. So it's been a little bit of a train wreck, quite honestly.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It was now 2 Saturdays ago, June 27th, that Brandon Aiyuk on YouTube posted multiple videos, including a 3-minute and 33-second video detailing his problems with the Niners. And this marked the first time that he truly detailed his grievances with the Niners. Among the many things that he said in the video was that he indicated that he fired his agent, Ryan Williams of Athletes First, because of Williams' close relationship with Niners president of football operations / general manager John Lynch, whom Williams has represented. Also, Aiyuk expressed displeasure with Williams having texted Aiyuk's wife after being fired by Aiyuk. An agent texting the wife of a client with whom the agent is having issues. Is that out of bounds?
I mean, it definitely happens, but I think you got to also understand who your client is, kind of the things that are on limits, for lack of a better word, and off limits, right? And also just kind of reading the room in terms of just kind of the state of your client, right? It's one of those things where if you know that in this example, the wife is a significant voice or champion in that athlete's circle, then maybe it does make sense. But if you also know that perhaps given kind of where that client is in terms of just their emotions, that may not be kind of a kosher thing to do. Again, it's really just about kind of reading the tea leaves of who your client is and where they are in that moment as to whether or not you would contact a family member or a spouse. But again, to simply answer your question, that's not exactly uncommon to do.
Okay, I didn't think so. Another complaint from Brandon Aiyuk in that video was him calling John Lynch, quote, a weirdo, end quote, because Lynch at one point came to Aiyuk's house to apologize for the behavior of Niners head coach and former Redskins offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, who Aiyuk said has the, quote, temperament of an effing toddler, end quote. Kyle Shanahan's temperament aside, is a prominent person in an NFL team's football operations going to the house of a player with whom the team is having difficulty out of bounds?
You know, obviously there's probably more detail around and context around that visit and, you know, if and how it occurred. But that being said, for a player who you've committed that much money to, who at one point in time you believed was a cornerstone of the roster that you're constructing, for the general manager to try to have a more personal conversation with a player is not abnormal. But again, we're hearing kind of one side of that story, so maybe we don't have the full context of what that visit was or was not. But just to try to have a more personal level conversation with a player you've invested in is not abnormal.
Okay, again, I didn't think so. One of the fascinating aspects of the Brandon Aiyuk saga is the Niners having voided the 2026 guaranteed money in Aiyuk's contract. That money was believed to be between $20 million and $30 million, and Aiyuk and the NFL Players Association have not gone after the money. There seems to be this acceptance of, Aiyuk was in the wrong. He was in violation of his contract and no longer reporting to the team. That kind of acceptance is not common. What's your take on that? Aiyuk and the NFLPA not going after that money?
Yeah, I think that was actually kind of the first early indicator that we had that this Brandon Aiyuk 49er situation was going to be somewhat unique, just because that kind of came out probably about six months or so ago that they were going to void the guarantees, that he was not going to fight it. To your point, more often than not, a player tries to fight for those guarantees, right? Like, that is money that when you signed the contract, you had kind of banked on receiving. And the fact that Brandon Aiyuk chose not to fight to keep that guaranteed money, and the union's not going to do it unless he instructs them to go fight for that money, tells you that, that relationship was fractured a long time ago. So much so that he was not willing to fight for millions of dollars. But again, that's not a very common outcome. So again, it was the initial red flag that this was going to be a very adversarial and different situation as they tried to kind of part ways.
It's hard to know whether Brandon Aiyuk and the NFLPA not going after the money is coming more from Aiyuk or the NFLPA, but there from at least one of those parties must be a recognition of, hey, Aiyuk stopped reporting to the team in his recovery from the torn ACL and torn MCL in his right knee. Therefore, Aiyuk is in the wrong here.
Maybe he was self-aware that he's like, look, I know my behavior voided these guarantees. I don't. Look, the money that I've received thus far, the guaranteed money that I've received thus far is should still set me up generationally, right? And I don't want to be here anymore. You guys likely don't want me here anymore. So, it's not about the money at that point. It really is about, look, let me go so I can go continue my career elsewhere. And until you do that, I'm just going to be a pain in the butt.
We're discussing the Brandon Aiyuk situation as we speak with former Washington Redskins salary cap analyst J.I. Halsell, who currently is the executive vice president of client compensation for Strand Sports And Entertainment. There's been talk of the Niners potentially going after more of Brandon Aiyuk's money. How realistic is that?
I think the challenge becomes is that anytime, I think I read this previously, that there is language in the CBA that theoretically gives the Niners the ability to pursue money that has already been paid. But good luck with that. Just trying to recover money that has already been paid to an athlete. We've seen this, and I've been around the cap and contract game for 20 plus years now, and I've never seen a situation where recovering money that's already been paid to a player is an easy process. So you might, as an organization, say that while we could try to pursue the money that's already been paid, do we really want to invest the time, energy, and resources into that?
On what basis could the Niners go after money that the team already has paid to Brandon Aiyuk?
It's based upon behavior that is basically poor behaviors, is for lack of a better word, right? That your behavior that you've exhibited while we still had contained or retained your contract rights was at such a level that we are going to pursue our right to recover money that we've already paid to you. It's just, that is such a high bar. That is such a lengthy process that as an organization, as we try to win football games and try to build a roster to go win a Super Bowl, as the 49ers, do we want to invest that time, energy, and resources?
Brandon Aiyuk, of course, is under contract to the Niners, but he, in his social media postings, keeps referencing wanting to play for Washington and being on the verge of playing for Washington. He mentions the Commanders all of the time. We know that the NFL has strict rules against a team tampering with a player under contract to another team. Is there such a thing as a tampering charge arising from a player under contract with one team tampering with another team, i.e., the tampering coming from the player, not the team?
The Commanders can't get in trouble. They don't control what a player on another team says in regards to kind of invoking their name. Now, as we go back to what I said about 2 seconds ago, could the Niners use that behavior to support an argument for why they want to recoup money that's they've already paid to Brandon Aiyuk? Sure, because you are still under contract to the 49ers, yet you continue to articulate publicly your desire to play for another team, in this case, the Commanders. And, if we were to have another player say that under a little more normal circumstances, that would stand out a little bit more, right? Where, like, wait a minute, that's not showing loyalty to the team that you currently play for, right? And so, technically speaking, again, Brandon Aiyuk is still a 49er. So, yes, from a club perspective, that is part of their argument for why you may try to recoup money. But again, from a Commander's perspective, we don't control what another player is saying.
Brandon Aiyuk's now former agent, Ryan Williams, he is well regarded in the agent community. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Ryan Williams, Athletes First, big agency, represent a lot of high-end guys. They do a great job. That's why when you see a Ryan Williams and however they parted ways, when you see them part ways, it is noteworthy.
That Ryan Williams has this close relationship with John Lynch, should we buy that is made for a problematic dynamic for Brandon Aiyuk with the Niners, as he has suggested?
It's not that big of a deal. It's actually a pretty common dynamic in the NFL where agencies represent both executives and players. And quite honestly, more often than not, it actually helps mitigate any kind of awkwardness or mistrust, if you will, because now you've got a intermediary who understands kind of both sides of the argument, both the player side and the executive side, right? And don't get me wrong, from a pure business standpoint, at the end of the day, do you sometimes need to make a smart business decision for your agency in terms of, okay, who are we going to side with if we had to pick a side? But again, it creates a better line of communication between player and executive as we try to reconcile any differences or miscommunication. So I wouldn't call it awkward. I would actually make the argument that it's actually super helpful in a situation like this.
We're really getting into the weeds here, but this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. The specifics of Brandon Aiyuk parting with Ryan Williams were odd. Aiyuk on June 26 on Instagram posted a video in which he said that he had terminated his agent, Ryan Williams, this past November. NFLPA records as of that day did not reflect Aiyuk not having an agent. They showed him still having as his agent Ryan Williams. But then we on June 28th had reports that the previous day, June 27th, proper action had been taken to end Williams serving as Aiyuk's agent, that the SRA, the Standard Representation Agreement, had been terminated. Aiyuk having verbally parted with Williams this past November, but the formal termination of the SRA not happening until June. Is that kind of delay normal?
No. It's not like he has to go fill out a form. It could be like a 2-sentence letter that you email to the salary cap and agent administration department at the union saying, per paragraph, blah, 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 in my standard representation agreement, I am terminating my relationship with Ryan Williams. Done and done. That's all he had to do. So, again, that's not a big one, but again, it just makes you wonder kind of where the kid is in terms of, his decision making.
For sure. And in our next conversation, we'll get into how this Brandon Aiyuk situation is likely to end and what Washington's approach to potentially acquiring him is/should be. Former Washington Redskins salary cap analyst J.I. Halsell, who currently is the executive vice president of client compensation for Strand Sports And Entertainment. J.I., thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Likewise, brother. See you, man.
All right. Hey, if you are a Washington Commanders fan, check out bgobsession.com, an outstanding site for discussion about the team, especially as we're now approaching training camp. BG Obsession, or BGO, has been going strong since 2009. BG Obsession offers great contests, game day chats, and camaraderie. No politics, just football. Both old school and new school fans are welcome. Visit and join BGO at bgobsession.com and tell bgobsession.com that Al Galdi sent you. bgobsession.com, home to your burgundy and gold obsession. Big-time press conference for the Washington Capitals on Monday at 12 p.m. The press conference in honor of the Caps this past Thursday afternoon, having re-signed unrestricted free agent winger Alex Ovechkin to a one-year contract for a 22nd NHL season, what will be his age 41 season. Participating in the presser will be Ovechkin. The Caps lead owner, Monumental Sports and Entertainment founder, chairman, managing partner, and CEO Ted Leonsis. Caps president of hockey operations, Brian McClellan, and Caps senior vice president and general manager Chris Patrick. But doing a press conference this past Friday morning was the Caps head coach Spencer Carbery. A 2026 Washington Capitals development camp took place last Tuesday through Friday, took place at MedStar Capitals Iceplex in Arlington, Virginia. Carbery did a press conference on Friday morning during which he addressed the team re-signing Alex Ovechkin. The contract in the press release put out by the Caps was explained as featuring Ovechkin earning $1 million in salary, earning a $4.75 million games played bonus for playing at least 10 games in the NHL's 2026-2027 regular season, and earning a $3.25 million signing bonus. So the accounting for this contract is a bit complex. The 2025-2026 season was the final season of a 5-year, $47.5 million contract, to which the Caps re-signed Ovechkin as an unrestricted free agent in July 2021. And he's coming off yet another impressive season. This guy can still play. Ovechkin in the 2025-2026 regular season played in all 82 of the Caps games and had the following rankings on the Caps. Number 1 in goals, 32. Number 1 in points, 64. Number 3 in hits, 134. And number 6 among all Caps who each played in at least 35 games in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage per NHL.com, 50.8. And he did all of this despite having the lowest average time on ice per game of his NHL regular season career, 17:27. Spencer Carbery has done a very good job of managing Alex Ovechkin. We on Friday morning had this exchange between Caps insider Tarek El-Bashir of Monumental Sports Network and Spencer Carbery, and then you hear a follow-up exchange between Tom Galiti of NHL.com and Carbery.
What were the conversations like with him leading up to the decision about, I'm sure you guys talked about role and other things.
Yeah. So we had a couple different conversations. I'm not going to go into extensive detail about them. We met after the season, and right after the season is just more of a catch-up. I always have taken the stance that I don't like to go too far into dissecting the season so soon after things have just ended. So we had a brief discussion there, just kind of surface level about, the season coming to an end after the Columbus game, what his plans were. And then a few weeks later, we met and talked about, I just wanted him to be able to leave DC and go back home. And if he was going to play, him and I to have a face-to-face conversation about what that would look like and role in our team and my thoughts on what our team was going to look like and where we needed to get better, all that sort of stuff. So we had a great conversation there. And then the rest of the summer was just basically just checking in. Didn't ask, what are you leaning towards? What are you thinking? It was just more about how's the family doing? Where are you guys at? What have you been up to? And then, so just checked in with him a few times like that. And then found out yesterday.
Based on the team you have now, and based on what he did last year, what can 41-year-old Alex Ovechkin look like for you?
He can still continue to defy odds and be a very productive, good NHL player for the Washington Capitals and help us win a lot of hockey games. Like, that's the way that I see it going. And then also continue to be the leader that he's been through his career as our captain and continue to help a winning team, hopefully a playoff team, and young players inside of that continue to grow their game and develop and get to the next level. And, that's what I expect from our group. It'll be a different group. We'll have a lot of new faces with some of the moves that have gone on, but also some of the young players that'll hopefully be able to earn a spot in training camp.
As we have discussed, Alex Ovechkin coming back for at least one more NHL season isn't shocking. Indications as early as late this past regular season were that Ovi would be back for next season. B, the Caps this offseason have made a bunch of win-now moves. So if you're Ovi, how do you not come back? I cannot recall a Caps offseason this exciting. The highlights beyond Alex Ovechkin coming back for another season, a contract extension for Spencer Carbery, a sign and trade for Buffalo Sabres forward Alex Tuch, a trade for St. Louis Blues forward Jordan Kyrou, 5 unrestricted free agent signings, forward Boone Jenner, a 4-year, $23 million contract, defenseman Vincent Desharnais, a 4-year, $16.8 million contract, defenseman Justin Holl, a 1-year, $900,000 contract, forward Johnny Brodzinski, a 1-year, $850,000 contract, forward Josh Dunn, a 1-year, $850,000 contract, also a contract extension for defenseman Timothy Liljegren. Brian McClellan and Chris Patrick are behaving with extreme urgency off the Caps this past season, not making the Stanley Cup playoffs for just the 9th time over the last 43 NHL seasons. But, it's not like the Caps were a bad team last season. The Caps, for last regular season, had 95 points and a goal differential of plus 19. That's not a bad season. But yeah, all of these additions. We on Friday morning had this exchange between Caps insider Sammy Silber of the Hockey News and Spencer Carbery.
How exciting is it to see these moves in the offseason? You get Kyrou, you get Tuch, you get Desharnais on the back end. You're adding a lot of different pieces. How much fun is it going to be to kind of tinker with the lines? And now you have Ovi coming back too. Yeah,
it's exciting. I can feel the energy around our team. I know there's a lot of talk in the hockey world about our group, about the moves that Chris and his team have made. They've done a phenomenal job of not only the moves and signing Alex, but I think of specific needs inside of our group, our forward group, our D-core of what specific individual qualities do we need, and I think they did an amazing job of identifying those and going out and executing the moves to get it. And then the other thing that I think is a great part that I'm very proud of, and our fan base should be very proud of, our city should be very proud of, our players in our locker room should be very proud of, is there's multiple moves, signings in there where players want to come play in DC. And that's pretty cool when you got 31 markets to choose from and some tax-free stay and go through it all, and you have people that are identifying and players that are really, really good in the league that want to come here and want to live in this community, want to play for this organization because they've been a visitor and come into the building and seen what and felt what that was like, and then heard about our locker room and heard about the leadership and heard about and heard about how close it is and our staff, and so all the things that go into it for players to want to sign here, and specifically one of 32, there's the spot I want to be, is something that we all should be real proud of.
Very good point right there by Spencer Carbery. Something else with the Caps off these moves. The team now is big. Consider the following listed heights for Caps players. Forwards: Alexi Protas, a.k.a. Big Pro, 6'6". His younger brother, Ilya Protas, a.k.a. Lil Pro, 6'6". Alex Tuch, 6'4". Tom Wilson, 6'4". Dylan Strome, 6'4". Pierre-Luc Dubois, 6'4". Defenseman: Vincent Desharnais, 6'7". Dylan McElrath, 6'5". Justin Holl, 6'4". Goaltender Logan Thompson, 6'4". Size isn't everything in hockey, but size matters, and the Caps now have size in abundance. We on Friday morning had this exchange between Sammy Silber and Spencer Carbery.
Speaking of Desharnais, though, I mean, he's 6'7". It seems like you guys also added a lot of size. He kind of said yesterday you guys are going to be scary. Just how exciting is it to have a team that not just has speed but also size?
I think it's and you mention, or you hear a bunch of the guys reference the physicality of the group becomes like, it gets everybody like, I'm playing with Willie, I got Boone Jenner, this is nice. It's not just me looking around and I'm the only sort of physical presence in the room. So to have multiple guys that really take pride in playing with a competitive edge and being hard and physical on the opposition, in the East, like there's going to be some physical games. And when we've got a group that now all of a sudden feels a little bit taller with all these guys through your lineup, it's a big positive.
Yes, it is. The Caps this offseason have gotten bigger, they've gotten deeper, and they've gotten better. And none of this guarantees anything for the coming season, of course. We get that. But if you are a Caps fan like me, hard not to love what's happening with our team right now.
If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and one spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you one flexible platform built to grow with you. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Well, this episode of the podcast is from Monday, July 6, 2026, the one-year anniversary of Nats managing principal owner Mark Lerner on Sunday evening, July 6, 2025, announcing having fired Nats president of baseball operations and general manager Mike Rizzo and having fired manager Davey Martinez for all of the good that Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez did with the Nats, including, of course, winning the 2019 World Series. I don't know how anyone at this point could argue that firing Rizzo and Martinez was the wrong way to go. There is an optimism with the Nats like there hasn't been in years, as the team has been one of the biggest surprises in MLB's 2026 regular season, thanks in large part to the analytics-based process led by President of Baseball Operations Paul Taboni, General Manager Anirudh Kalambi, and Manager Blake Butera. But the Nats over the weekend did lose 2 out of 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Nationals Park. Friday evening, a 9-5 win over the Pirates in a game for which the Washington Wizards' A.J. Dabansa threw out the ceremonial first pitch. But Saturday, a 7-1 loss to the Pirates in the Nats' annual 11:05 a.m. home game on July 4th. And Sunday afternoon, an 11-5 loss to the Pirates, despite the Nats overcoming a 4-0 third-inning deficit. And this game was, shall we say, not quick. The game lasted for 3 hours and 28 minutes. The Nats in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 46-45 with a run differential of +9. The Pirates in this regular season now are 46-45 with a run differential of +33. The Nats offense in the team losing 2 out of 3 games against the Pirates at Nationals Park over the weekend was good in games 1 and 3, but bad in game 2, the 9-5 win over the Pirates on Friday evening. The Nats were great offensively, 9 runs, 12 hits, which were 5 home runs, a triple, 2 doubles, and 4 singles, 3 walks, 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Nats homered 3 times off Pirates starting pitcher Mitch Keller, who allowed 5 runs in 6 innings. So many Nats did well in this game. Luis Garcia Jr. as the Nats starting first baseman and number 2 batter went 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer, a solo homer, and a walk. Dalen Lyle, as the Nats starting left fielder and number 6 batter, went 3 for 4 with a 2-run homer, a solo homer, and a double. Jose Tena, as the Nats starting DH and number 3 batter, went 1 for 5 with a 2-run homer. James Wood, as the Nats starting right fielder and number 1 batter, went 2 for 5 with a triple and a double. The 7-1 loss to the Pirates on Saturday. The Nats were not good offensively. Just 1 run, just 6 hits, which were a home run, and 5 singles. Just 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. 11 strikeouts. The Nats did work 5 walks, but the Nats struggled against Pirates starting pitcher Braxton Ashcraft, who allowed 1 run in 5 2/3 innings with 7 strikeouts. But James Wood did homer. He is the Nats starting right fielder and number 1 batter, went 1 for 2 with a solo homer and 2 walks. And the 11-5 loss to the Pirates on Sunday afternoon, the Nats were good offensively. 5 runs, 10 hits, which were 2 home runs, a double, and 7 singles, 5 walks. The Nats did go just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, but Luis Garcia Jr. homered again. He is the Nats starting first baseman and number 2 batter, went 2 for 5 with a 2-run homer, a single, and a stolen base. And Dylan Cruz homered. He is the Nats starting center fielder and number 6 batter, went 1 for 3 with a solo homer and a walk. The offense continues to be such a bright spot. The Nats continue to be so reliable offensively. I mean, there at no point in this regular season has been anything close to like a prolonged slump for the Nats as a team offensively. And so the Nats, as of now, have 2 All-Stars this season, shortstop C.J. Abrams and outfielder James Wood. They, on Saturday night, were announced as members of the 2026 National League All-Star team. This year's All-Star game will take place at the Philadelphia Phillies Citizens Bank Park on July 14th. Abrams is a starter. He beat out Los Angeles Dodgers shortstop Mookie Betts in fan voting. How about that? Abrams became the first Nats position player elected by fans to start an All-Star game since outfielder Bryce Harper in 2018 when the All-Star game was at Nationals Park. Also, Abrams became the first Nats shortstop to be voted in as an All-Star starter since the franchise moved to Washington, D.C. in the 2004-2005 offseason, and Wood was announced as a member of the 2026 National League All-Star team as a reserve as he was voted in by fellow players. Both Abrams and Wood are very deserving of being All-Stars, but Wood is having the better season. How and why Abrams got voted in by fans, but Wood did not, is really strange. You'd think that the people, Nats fans, voting for Abrams would vote for Wood. But I guess that didn't happen. Now, maybe it was just that not many Nats fans voted, and a lot of Abrams votes came from fans around the country. Who knows? But still, each guy very deserving of being an All-Star. Your top 3 qualified Nats players in OPS for this regular season. Number 1, James Wood, 926. Number 2, Luis Garcia Jr., 874. Number 3, C.J. Abrams, 846. Garcia is on fire, so much so that he has overtaken Abrams for number 2. Heck, Garcia's slugging percentage is better than Wood's, 561 to 533. Also regarding the Nats offense, Jacob Young did not play at all in this series. He, for Game 2, was to be the Nats starting center fielder and number 7 batter, but he was scratched from the lineup due to left hand soreness. The Nats starting pitching in the team losing 2 out of 3 games against the Pirates at Nationals Park over the weekend was mixed. The 9-5 win over the Pirates on Friday evening, Foster Griffin again was good. He allowed 1 run in 5 innings. He gave up just 4 hits, which were a home run and 3 singles, issued a walk, recorded 2 strikeouts, threw a lot of strikes, 83 pitches, 57 strikes, just 26 balls. I very much hope that Foster Griffin finds his way onto the 2026 National League All-Star team. He is deserving. You look at what he has done in this regular season, 18 games, All-Starts, ERA of 2.87, whip of 1.04. Those are all-star caliber numbers. The 7-1 loss to the Pirates on Saturday. The Nats used an opener who was relief pitcher Carson Palmquist. He officially allowed 4 runs in 1 inning, although 3 of the runs were scored with him out of the game, but he gave up 4 hits, all of which were singles, and issued a hit by pitch. It did have 3 strikeouts versus no walks, but he, at the top of the first, allowed a run on 2 singles and 3 stolen bases, including a 2-out double steal that included Connor Griffin stealing home for a 1-0 Pirates lead as nobody was covering second base. Catcher Drew Millis' throw to second base went to shortstop C.J. Abrams well behind the bag, and then Abrams' throw home was way off in part because he bumped into the runner who stole second base, Brian Reynolds, who went into second base standing up. The play was a total mess for the Nats. Starting pitcher Zach Littell came into the game to serve as the Nats' bulk pitcher. He officially allowed 1 run in 6 innings. He and the Pirates' 4-run second gave up 3 singles in allowing 3 inherited runners to score. That was rough, but Littell then tossed scoreless 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings. He gave up 4 hits, all of which were singles. He had 3 strikeouts versus 1 walk. He issued a wild pitch. He threw a lot of strikes, 87 pitches, 57 strikes, just 30 balls. So Zach Littell now in this regular season, 18 games, including 12 starts, ERA of 5.02, whip of 1.31. And the 11-5 loss to the Pirates on Sunday afternoon, a disappointing outing for Cade Cavalli, who did deal with dehydration, but this was maybe / probably his final outing before the All-Star break. Is we're still awaiting word on his appeal of his 7-game suspension from MLB, and we're awaiting word on MLB's 5-game suspension for Nats starting pitcher Miles Mikolas. The suspensions, of course, coming from the benches and bullpens clearing incident in the Nats' 8-1 win at the Boston Red Sox this past Tuesday night. Cavalli in that game was outstanding, but he on Sunday afternoon struggled. He allowed 4 runs, 3 earned in 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 6 hits, which were a home run and 5 singles. He issued 2 walks and a balk. He recorded 3 strikeouts. He over his mere 2 1/3 innings threw a whopping 63 pitches, 41 strikes, 22 balls. So Cavalli in the top of the second allowed 3 runs, 2 earned on 3 singles, a walk, and a throwing error on a pickoff attempt by Cavalli. He in the top of the third gave up a leadoff homer by Brian Reynolds to right center field for a 4-0 Pirates lead. And what was especially troubling was that Cavalli's velocity diminished from inning to inning. You never want to see that. Cade Cavalli now in this regular season, 19 games, all starts, ERA of 3.88, whip of 1.38, strikeouts per 9 innings of 10.20. The Nats relief pitching in the team losing 2 out of 3 games against the Pirates at Nationals Park over the weekend. You know why I laughed. Not good. We know that the Nats relief pitching is a problem. This series was a continuation of that problem. The 9-5 win over the Pirates on Friday evening, 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 4 runs in 4 innings. Orlando Rebolta tossed a scoreless top of the 6th with 2 strikeouts. Justin Lawrence tossed 2/3 of a scoreless inning, but he retired just 2 of the 5 batters he faced. He began the top of the 7th by retiring each of the Pirates' first 2 batters, but then gave up a double and 2 walks. Clayton Beeter faced 1 batter and got 1 out. Beeter came into the game in the top of the 7th with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and the Nats up 5-1, and Beeter, with the first batter he faced, generated a swinging strikeout of the Pirates' number 3 batter, Brian Reynolds. But Zach Kent allowed 4 runs in 2 innings. Now, he tossed a scoreless top of the 8th, but he did so despite giving up 2 singles and despite shortstop C.J. Abrams committing a throwing error for his second error of the game. And Kent, in the top of the 9th, allowed 4 runs on 5 doubles, 4 of which were RBI doubles. So the Nats on Saturday afternoon did announce having optioned Kent to AAA Rochester. The Nats, in their 7-1 loss to the Pirates on Saturday, used just 1 pitcher beyond opener Carson Palmquist and bulkman Zach Littell. Riley Cornelio was that pitcher. He allowed 2 runs in 2 innings. He, at the top of the 8th, allowed 2 runs on 3 singles and 2 walks. Did then toss a perfect top of the 9th. And he, over his 2 innings, did record 3 strikeouts. And the 11-5 loss to the Pirates on Sunday afternoon, 5 Nats relievers combined to allow 7 runs in 6 2/3 innings. Now, there in this game were some good performances by Nats relievers. Eddie Jean, in his MLB regular season debut, tossed 2 scoreless and hitless innings with 3 strikeouts. He looked very good. And, there was irony in Jean making his MLB regular season debut in a game against the Pirates, because the Nats on Christmas Eve 2020 traded Jean as part of a 2-player package to the Pirates for first baseman Josh Bell. Jean found his way back to the Nats. They on Sunday morning announced having selected the contract of Jean from AAA Rochester. But the Nats on Sunday evening did announce having optioned Jean back to Rochester. P.J. Poulin, he tossed 2/3 of a scoreless inning. He in the top of the 5th faced 4 batters and got 2 outs. Orlando Rebolta tossed a perfect top of the 6th with 2 swinging strikeouts. But Brad Lord, allowed 5 runs in 1 and a third innings, during which he threw 50 pitches. He tossed a perfect top of the 7th, but he had the top of the 8th. Allowed 5 runs on a home run, 3 singles and a walk. Among the singles was a one-out, bases-loaded, opposite field, 2-run single by Connor Griffin through the right side of the infield and past a diving Luis Garcia Jr. at first base for a 6-4 Pirates lead, despite Lord having had Griffin down in the count at 1.12. And Lord, to the next and final batter he faced, gave up a one-out, 3-run homer by University of Maryland product Brandon Lau to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 9-4 Pirates lead, and Justin Lawrence allowed 2 runs in 1 and 2/3 innings. The Nats in this regular season have the following relief pitching stats. Cover your ears. Heck, cover your eyes. ERA of 5.03, whip of 1.47, 63 home runs allowed, worst in MLB, 7.34 strikeouts per 9 innings, worst in MLB. I mentioned the 2 big hits given up by Brad Lord, the 2-run single by Connor Griffin, the 3-run homer by Brandon Lau. Each guy in that plate appearance at one point was down 1-2. Lord did not put either guy away via a strikeout. When you have a bullpen that doesn't strike guys out, that's a big-time problem. Again, the Nats' relief pitching strikeouts per 9 innings in this regular season, and MLB worst, 7.34. The 2026 MLB trade deadline is on August 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. What is Paul Taboni thinking regarding getting bullpen help in the lead-up to that deadline? Also, the corresponding roster move to the Nats on Sunday morning, announcing having selected the contract of Eddie Jean from AAA Rochester, was the Nats having designated outfielder Robert Halsell III for assignment. Robert Halsell III is one of the 6 players who the Nats got from the San Diego Padres in the mega trade of outfielder Juan Soto and first baseman Josh Bell to the Padres on August 2nd, 2022, what was 2022 MLB trade deadline day. Halsell, at the time of the trade, was the number 21 overall prospect in baseball per MLB Pipeline. Yeah, he was that well regarded. The Padres took Halsell with the number 8 overall pick in the 2020 MLB draft out of a high school in Tennessee. Halsell has played in the MLB regular season in just one season, 2025. He for the Nats at the major league level last regular season, 70 games, 206 plate appearances, OPS of just 572. The Nats this past March 19th announced having optioned Halsell to AAA Rochester, but he for Rochester this season has struggled. 63 games, 258 plate appearances, OPS of just 593. The Nats are loaded with promising outfielders at the major league level and in the team's farm system, and so Halsell became expendable. Next up for the Nats is the 3-game series against the Houston Astros at Nationals Park. The Nats have listed the following starting pitchers as probables for the series. Game 1 Monday evening at 6:45, Miles Michaelis. Game 2 Tuesday evening at 6:45, Andrew Alvarez. Game 3 Wednesday evening at 6:45, Foster Griffin.
Imagine buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included, or buying furniture but missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine the exact same feeling, but you're paying way more. That is what buying business software usually feels like. Fragmented, disconnected, and incredibly expensive. Odoo completely changes that. Odoo is a complete, fully integrated business suite where all your apps actually talk to each other. We're talking automated lead routing for your sales team, seamless AI integration, and intuitive point-and-click website builder. It's everything your business needs to scale, saving you time, headaches, and money. Stop piecing your software together. Go to odoo.com. That's ODOO.com to learn more.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Baltimore Orioles in MLB's 2026 regular season now have had 7 different 3-game winning streaks, but not a single winning streak of at least 4 games. The O's over the weekend won a 3-game series at the Cincinnati Reds. The O's won each of the first 2 games of the series to give the team, yes, a 3-game winning streak, but the O's then lost Game 3. Friday night, a 3-0 win at the Reds. Saturday night, an 8-5 win at the Reds, but Sunday afternoon, a 3-2 loss at the Reds. The O's in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 42-49 with a run differential of -28. The Reds in this regular season now are a National League Central worst 41-48 with a run differential of -60. Good to see the O's win the series, but if they're going to turn this disappointing season into a playoff season, they're going to need to have some winning streaks of at least 4 games. I mean, a 4-game winning streak is not some monumental achievement, and yet the O's in this regular season have yet to have a winning streak of at least 4 games. So the O's won 2 out of 3 games at the Reds over the weekend, despite the offense being good in just 1 of the 3 games. So the 3-0 win at the Reds on Friday night, the O's scored just 3 runs on just 4 hits, which were a home run, a double, and 2 singles. So the O's did draw 5 walks, went 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Samuel Basallo hit the homer. He is the Orioles starting catcher and number 5 batter, went 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer and a walk. The 8-5 win at the Reds on Saturday night, the O's were good offensively. 8 runs, 10 hits, which were a home run, 3 doubles, and 6 singles, 7 walks, 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Samuel Basallo homered for a second consecutive game. He is the Orioles starting catcher and number 5 batter, went 1 for 4 with a 3-run homer and an intentional walk. Adley Rutschman as the Orioles starting DH and number 2 batter, went 2 for 5 with a 2-run double and another double. Pete Alonso got on base 5 times. He is the Orioles starting first baseman and number 4 batter, went 3 for 3 with a double, an RBI single, another single, and 2 walks. And the 3-2 loss at the Reds on Sunday afternoon, the O's scored just 2 runs on just 7 hits, which were a double and 6 singles. So the O's did draw 4 walks and did go 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. But a salute to catcher Adley Rutschman. He on Saturday night was announced as a member of the 2026 American League All-Star team as a reserve. It was voted in by fellow players. Only Orioles player selected for the team, at least so far. Became just the 3rd catcher to earn at least 3 All-Star selections while playing for the O's. The other 2 are Gus Triandos and Matt Wieters. Adley Rutschman for this regular season, 60 games, 254 plate appearances, OPS of 774. Continuing to be number 1 among all qualified Orioles players in OPS for this regular season is Pete Alonso, 810. He, to me, is worthy of being on the 2026 American League All-Star team. And I mentioned the 2 homers by Samuel Basallo. He, for this regular season, has an OPS of 789. Not many bright spots for the O's this season, but one of the biggest bright spots is this dynamic catching duo of Adley Rutschman and Samuel Basallo. Major production from each guy. The Orioles starting pitching in the team winning 2 out of 3 games at the Reds over the weekend was good in games 1 and 3, bad in game 2. The 3-0 win at the Reds on Friday night. Trevor Rogers was good for a 5th time in 6 outings off having been bad in each of 7 consecutive outings. He tossed 5 scoreless innings despite issuing 5 walks, but he gave up just 2 hits, each of which was a single, and he recorded 4 strikeouts. However, all of this added up to him over his 5 shutout innings, throwing at 93 pitches, 57 strikes, 36 balls. Trevor Rogers now in this regular season, 16 games, all starts, ERA of 4.70, whip of 1.32. The 8-5 win at the Reds on Saturday night. Brandon Young had a rare off outing this season. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings, gave up 8 hits, which were a triple, 2 doubles, and 5 singles, issued 3 walks, did record 5 strikeouts, but all of that added up to him over his 5 innings, throwing 102 pitches, 65 strikes, 37 balls. So Brandon Young now at the major league level in this regular season, 14 games, all starts, ERA of 3.38, whip of 1.36. And the 3-2 loss at the Reds on Sunday afternoon, Kyle Bradish was good for the 8th time in 11 outings. He allowed 3 runs in 7 2/3 innings with 5 strikeouts versus 1 walk, gave up 5 hits, which were a home run, a double, and 3 singles, issued a wild pitch, but threw a lot of strikes, 106 pitches, 73 strikes, just 33 balls. Kyle Bradish now in this regular season, 18 games, all starts, ERA of 3.75, whip of 1.40, strikeouts per 9 innings of 9.03. The Orioles starting pitching lately has been good. The Orioles relief pitching in the team winning 2 out of 3 games at the Reds over the weekend was good, despite the Orioles closer, Ryan Halsell, being back on the 15-day injured list. The O's on Friday afternoon announced having put Halsell on the 15-day injured list retroactive to June 30th due to right elbow discomfort. Second time that he has been on the 15-day injured list this season. He was on the 15-day injured list from May 1st, retroactive to April 29th to June 16th due to right elbow inflammation. The O's on Friday afternoon also announced having recalled relief pitcher Anthony Nunez from AAA Norfolk and announced having recalled infielder/outfielder Jeremiah Jackson from AAA Norfolk. But the Orioles relief pitching in this series did well. Tyler Wells, as the Orioles closer, did well. He got the save in each of the Orioles' 2 wins in this series. The 3-0 win at the Reds on Friday night. 3 Orioles relievers combined for 4 scoreless innings. Rico Garcia tossed 2 scoreless innings with 2 swinging strikeouts. Yadier Cano tossed a scoreless bottom of the 8th, and Tyler Wells tossed a perfect bottom of the 9th for the save. The 8-5 win at the Reds on Saturday night. 4 Orioles relievers combined to allow 1 run in 4 innings. Grant Wolfram officially allowed 1 run in 1 inning. Yadier Cano officially tossed a scoreless inning, but he and the Reds' 1-run 7th gave up 2 singles and issued a walk and allowing an inherited runner to score. Andrew Kittredge tossed a perfect bottom of the 8th, and Tyler Wells tossed a scoreless bottom of the 9th for the save, despite beginning his appearance by giving up a single and then issuing a walk. And the O's in their 3-2 loss at the Reds on Sunday afternoon used just 1 relief pitcher, Rico Garcia. He retired the only batter he faced. No game for the O's on Monday. Next up for them is a 6-game homestand to conclude the pre-All-Star break portion of their season. The homestand begins with a 3-game series against the Chicago Cubs at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The O's have listed the following starting pitchers as probables for the series. Game 1 Tuesday evening at 6:35, Shane Baz. Game 2 Wednesday evening at 6:35, Dean Kramer. Game 3 Thursday evening at 6:35, Trevor Rogers. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. Tuesday's show, episode 1363. We'll have plenty for you on the Washington Commanders. Also on Tuesday's show, discuss the Washington Capitals, as we on Monday at noon have a major press conference in honor of the Caps this past Thursday afternoon, having announced having re-signed unrestricted free agent winger Alex Ovechkin to a 1-year contract for a 22nd NHL season. And on Tuesday's show, we'll talk Washington Nationals. The Nats are home to the Houston Astros Monday evening at 6:45 for Game 1 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Hey, Jaden Daniels, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk. You better not throw shit for him next year. I'm a Niner fan. Fuck Brandon Aiyuk, fuck Brandon Aiyuk.